time for part 4, the Spaghetti Chronicles. Part Pesto. Oh god. Oh god, it's speeding up. I never played Spider-Man 2. I never had this thing. Anyway, welcome back. It's been a while since I've done this. It's the Jojo Grayfruit podcast, where I go through the manga and just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. So I'm gonna do that. It's been, what, weeks since I've done this? I'm seeing a lot of, like, confused people in the chat. You don't even know what's going on. And that's fair. Because I haven't done this in ages. But we're right on the Tonio Trendy arc. So essentially it was a cliffhanger. To those of you who know the material. And here we are, JoJo Part 4. So I don't know how much I'm going to cover today. In the first video I did the first 4 arcs, or the first 4 volumes rather. Which I don't know how many arcs that is. They're of varying lengths, and today I'm starting on volume 5. I'll get through at least volume 8, if not more. I'm going to try to do more, but we'll see. I don't know. I get tired doing these, and there's a lot to say about this. Let me know if the visual and sound is good for y'all. It looks good on my end. Thankfully there's not in-game music for this. But here we are. So I was taking a brief look at this, and I think in the anime they added something about how at the beginning of this scene, Okuyasu and Josuke are on their way from visiting Keicho's grave at the graveyard, and they mention the cemetery here. But it's not related to like where they just were. I think that was maybe something that was slightly changed in the anime. I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong. But yeah, this is the Italian food arc, which is commonly seen as one of the best in Part 4, if not in all of JoJo. It's seen as a classic. And I think it might be a mistake if you're like trying to introduce someone to JoJo to show them this arc, because it is like goofier than a lot of other arcs in the series, but it does have a lot of the hallmarks. And JoJo is goofy. It's just this arc is particularly goofy, and it's really well done. Hold on. I'm already thirsty. So this is something that we'll see again in Part 8, where it's all in one location again. But this entire part, it all takes place in Morio. And he keeps updating the map. He keeps showing these maps in the manga, which I don't think they showed in the anime very much. Maybe when they do the little, like, tourist location bit, they'll, like, show it on the map or something. But I really like this. It makes the world feel a lot more cohesive. Yeah, so the gore is going to be uncensored, yeah. There's mild gore in this arc. Like, body, like, disfigurement. But later on, there will be some kind of hardcore gore. So I guess be warned. Oh, I guess, yeah, I should talk about the intros a little bit. I think I forgot to talk about Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town. It's good. It's one of those ones that when I first heard it, I was like, oh yeah, this is a fucking bop. And it is good. It's very, like, energetic. But I gotta say, I'm more of I'm in this weird minority of people who like Chase the most. That's, like, one of my favorite intros. And I don't even like that kind of music. I think Chase starts playing at the beginning of, like, the Rohan Kishibe arc or something like that. It starts at a really weird place in the Part 4 anime, but Chase is awesome. The animation in that one specifically, like, all the intros are good. That one is a really good example of mostly 2D animation, but Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town, so much of it, it doesn't have nearly as much, like, densely packed into it. Like, so much of it is just watching silhouettes of the characters fly by. or just seeing like one of the main characters like dancing or whatever, which is fine. It's like fun. I think Chase is like the most, I don't know, cohesive, densely packed. Yeah, and it goes with kind of goes without saying, I think, but spoilers for part 4. Jojo up until part 4. So anyway, sorry, I'm gonna actually start talking about it. We do get some more characterization for Okuyasu in this arc, and also there's gonna be some fucking, like, a million great profile pictures will come from this arc, too. We don't really get to hear much about Okuyasu's home life, but he's talking about how he has to take care of his goo dad that can't die. And then the fact that Tonio's is right next to the cemetery makes it like extra ominous, and there's this kind of like fake out that's going on for the entirety of this arc where it's like, oh, do we know if this guy's like creepy, if he's like a good guy or a bad guy, if he's like trying to like fuck them up somehow. And I think the graveyard is a little bit of like foreshadowing for that. Great Days is also great, as it happens. I'll get to that though. I'll talk about that eventually. I almost want to like watch them and like pause and like talk about cool like little like hidden shit and cool moments, but I'm worried that I would get copyright fucked, because one of the very few times I've ever got copyright stricken, like to the point where my video was taken off of YouTube and I got like a strike against my channel, was when when I used the song Great Days I made a video that was like a compilation of every time somebody gets their arm cut off or like loses their hand in parts 1 through 4, and I actually missed a bunch of hands. The video's still up on my Vimeo page. I'll link to that actually in the description of the VOD. Somebody remind me in the comments if I forget to do that. But yeah. I would love to go through those because they're awesome, but I might get copyright fucked. I don't know if it was actually using footage or using Great Days. I don't really remember. I think it was for using the song. Anyway, there's actually a fan animation online of Great Days that they use a different version of the song so they didn't get copyright fucked. Anyway, Tonio, the man, the myth, the legend. Everybody loves Tonio. It's like when you're first watching this arc, you're like, oh, maybe he's a bad guy. But after reading it, you're like, oh, he's just like a great guy. He's so lovable. Like, this is a lot of the strengths of part 4 are shown off in this arc, one of which being every minor antagonist has their own motivations. Because he's not even really an antagonist. He's just like he's like a deuteragonist or whatever. Or a side character. A supporting cast. I don't even know. He kind of looks like me from this one angle. I'm not nearly as handsome as Tonio, though. And also, his name is Trussardi, but in the anime they call him Tonio Trendy. Which is fucking awesome. Hilarious name. But in here it's Trussardi. Are you foreign? Oh yeah, and in the anime he talks with like a cartoon Italian accent too, which is awesome, in the dub. Mm. Oh yeah, to those of you who just joined us, we're in Japanese manga world. So you go, this panel... Can you guys see my mouse, actually? Yeah. You would go, this panel, this panel, this panel, this panel. And you would do the speech bubbles like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2... blah, blah, etc. It may seem a little confusing at first, but trust me when I say you get used to it surprisingly fast. Or at least I did, and I'm a big dummy. So Tonio's got a weird restaurant. There's kind of an inconsistency because he says we don't have menus and we like determine what you need based on your like examination. So Tonio's basically like a doctor. He's like a chef, but he also uses his stand to cure diseases, which is fucking awesome. And his stand is called Pearl Jam, which is amazing. Uh, but then later on, I think Josuke just goes, "Oh yeah, just give me a cappuccino," and he's like, "Yeah, sure." It's like, does Josuke have? Is it because Josuke is physically perfect? Oh capito. I think that means right away. And then Josuke just orders. It's like right after explaining that you're not allowed to just order whatever you want. And then, oh, I'm gonna drink water right now. Guys, I hope you're staying hydrated at home. Okyasu, the patron saint of hydration. Take a sip at home, lads, alright? I want to hear it. The world around. Mmm. Delicious, refreshing drinking water. So, I like that the arc starts off maybe in the goofiest way possible. That the water that Okyasu drinks is so refreshing that it like blows his fucking mind. Like this in any other thing, the water would be something that's like reserved for later. Like he would start off eating like the fucking like spaghetti or whatever. And then later he'd be like, even the water tastes good. But no, they start off with him freaking out about how amazing the water is and crying his eyes out. It's like, holy shit. And then a mild gore, I guess. You get to see his eyes like dry out. It's weird. Another thing, this is like all part of the like fake out of making you think Tonio's an enemy, but and this is of course like right after you've been told stand users are drawn to each other and stuff like that. And you're kind of like, oh fuck, he's really like screwing him up. But it's all part of the fake out. Because he kind of, the way his stand works is it like seemingly like screws you up for a second, but then it like fixes you straight away, right after that. Momento, please, don't worry. He's like, he's not like any part 3 character, but he's also like a really buff chef too. Oh, and I will go through the Rohan OVAs. There's a Rohan one-off comic that has not at time of recording been adapted to anime, although it might eventually, that features Tonio in it. And it's fucking good. And we get to see that he's quite buff in that, because we get to see him, like, shirtless. Flint water. What is Flint water? Gamer girl bath water. Hold on. This is me after drinking gamer girl bath water. Isn't that a funny, relevant meme? Then we got so many good Okyasu faces. We got like this is like especially a good arc to like not see coming. Another reason why I think people should not show this arc to people and be like, oh, watch JoJo, it's this goofy like thing. Because it's not really representative of the whole thing that accurately, and also part of the hilariousness is up until now, Okyasu's just been kind of like a thug, but here he's acting like a little like child. And it's amazing, and it's kind of a part of his transition to like being the goofy sidekick. Which I'm not gonna say is the most natural transition ever. But it's definitely, it's like part of the joke here. Also, I like Tonio's design. It's very understated for a JoJo design, honestly. It's just kind of like chef stuff, but he's got the T, he's got the golden T on his outfit here and there. It's just a very slightly like stylish, like toque and Italian chef outfit. You get a little bit of like menacing face here, where it's like, what dark secrets lie behind that gentle mask? You know? The faces just never fucking stop, too. I wish these scans were slightly higher quality. Kind of sucks that it's that pixelated up close. I wonder if there are even higher quality scans in existence, though. We get to see Okyasu drop an F-bomb. That's uncensored, too. I get like sort of a Kronk energy from Tonio in some of these shots where he's got the like Tonio with his oh, what are they? Spinach pasties or whatever. Then I shit you not, actually, in my house, some of the only food I have in my house right now is spaghetti and tomatoes and mozzarella, like fresh mozzarella. I just like happen to have. I just realized I happen to have like all these things in my house right now. Spinach puffs. Oh, I'm gonna ruin the spinach puffs. So this is like some top tier anime food, by the way. If you've never had a caprese salad, it's amazing. And I'm not the sort of person who likes a lot of like soft cheeses or tomatoes in a lot of things, but it's really good. It's a very refreshing and good food. I like it, and I don't even prepare it properly. You're supposed to use like basil and like special sauce, olive oil, actually. You like olive oil like mixed with other things. But I don't even go that far. I just eat like the fresh, like slice the cheese, eat the tomato. It's fucking good. Yeah, sadly Okuyasu is going to hell because he said the F word. We got this shit. There's not much to say. Like it is a little repetitive. It kind of just like the same thing happens over and over again, but with different parts of like Okuyasu's body, and they like establish everything at the beginning. They're like, oh, Okuyasu's got all sorts of like health problems, and then they get solved over the course of time. Look at these fucking faces. Araki is very expressive. This is when he started going like really goofy too, and I honestly feel like that wasn't a bad move. In so many things, attempts at comedy always like fall flat. But when Araki does it, it usually works. Sometimes it's like, okay, Araki, what the hell are you doing? Usually when it's like in part 2 when Joseph is like peeping on Lisa and he goes, nice! It's like, okay, Araki, what the hell? I guess he didn't say it like that in like writing. But shit like that, I'm like, Araki, what am I supposed to feel right now? So now we have Okuyasu scratching off his fucking, like, dead skin. And we get some sort of, like, science shit here. I don't know if this is, like, Araki is trying to pass this off as actually legit, or if this is just Tonio, like, making a cover because he doesn't want to explain, I have magical powers that cure your diseases. But in the Rohan one-shot, it's implied that there is an amount of science and research that goes into curing people with his food. Like, it's not just he makes a plate of fucking spaghetti and casts pearl jam on it. And, just, like, now it cures your cancer or whatever. But, he has to, like, research it. There's, like, a little bit of, like, sort of, like, there's, like, slight amounts of real science in it, but it's, like, exaggerated very heavily, I guess. I guess that's what Pearl Jam does. It like exaggerates the properties of food and like nutrition, I guess. So now we've got this giant ball of dead skin. It's the size of a softball, or larger. That honestly looks larger than a softball. And oh man, I wish I actually my shoulder is like fucked up right now. I wish I could be like Okuyasu right now. I need a fucking massage. We get to see Okuyasu shirtless or without his like coat, which we almost never see. He's so dorky in this. Honestly, you could see it as a really bad like shift in tone. I feel like I don't know why I like let it slide. Also, horse spaghetti! This is real horse pasta. And this is more like another classic like Araki thing. Given the little like taste of spaghetti, No, a little bit of culture in it. Like he actually goes through and explains what's in the foods, how they're prepared, and like some of the like why they're good for you, what they do to your body, kind of. I mean, of course, they don't do this. This is like stand bullshit. But he tosses in a little bit of reality in there, which is nice. I just love how like epic it is too. It's got like the anime, like the radius lines coming out. Everything's all like epic, and he's talking about now for the prima piatto, the pasta. Like it's so cool. He took the subject like weirdly seriously. It wasn't just like it's goofy, but it's still detailed and fun. Gives this all this fucking like nonsense about pasta. And it's like it's got extra like meme value in retrospect, I guess, because there's this sort of like weird modern like Italy for some reason just has like meme status. I don't even know why. But that kind of adds to it, especially with the spaghetti. And he calls it fucking whore pasta too. Oh man. Look at this shit. How could you ever hate a face like that? So yeah, Okyasu is like, no, I don't like hot food, but it's so good that he keeps getting like tempted to eat it. Josuke is like suspicious the whole time, which Josuke, I guess the cappuccino just did nothing to him. I'm still curious because I think he got the cappuccino. Yeah, he got the cappuccino. I don't know if he drank it. Maybe he like refused to drink it because maybe it'll like fuck him up. Actually, hold on. I want to go back and see if he drank from it. I know this is such a tiny thing. Oh, there he is almost holding it. I don't know if he actually drank from it. Uh, hold on. Oh, I don't even see the cup anymore. I don't even see the cup in front of him. Are we past the point where he got the cappuccino? Fuck. This is the plot line that needs the closest examination. People are saying he drinks it in the anime. Well, the anime has those slight like changes too. Well, okay. I might have missed it. Fuck it. It's just a tiny little thing. Tiny minor thing. But it's like, what the fuck was up with the cappuccino? Why didn't it like do anything? I think it's funny because it implies sort of casually and maybe unintentionally that Josuke is like a totally perfect like incarnation of a human being with no physical flaws whatsoever. All right. They actually bring up the whole stand users are drawn together thing. Josuke briefly turns into early Part 4 Josuke again for like one panel. That may be the last time we ever see that version of Josuke. And then we get this fucking like legendary shit. This is really well done in the anime too. This would be like so hard to animate, I feel like a character talking around eating spaghetti. But they did it really well. I've expanded my tastes. And then his fucking like, oh, this kind of makes me cringe. I don't like tooth stuff, especially I just went to the dentist yesterday and they were scraping hella hard on my teeth and I swear I had like nightmares about like the feeling. Like I didn't like bitch and moan in the dentist chair, but it was really uncomfortable and now seeing this shit I'm like, ew. Seeing his jaw like misaligned, but his tooth fucking shoots out with enough force to embed into the table, which is hilarious. And then another one, look at that face! His tooth shoots out so hard that it sticks into the ceiling. It's like just anime enough. It's ridiculous. People are saying, how did the tooth turn 180 degrees? That's the unbelievable part to this. Like, it could happen. It's just a coincidence. Things spin when they're launched at great force. And you get to see it, like, growing back in. Okasu's fucking, like, losing his mind. And then there's this. Actually, hold on. I have a meme for this. I actually have so many. Like, way too many. Isn't there one where somebody colored in his teeth with, like, Go-Go Zappelli? Ah, shit. I'm not finding it right now. Anyway, if I ever do an edit of this, I'll put it up there. You can just search it yourself. It's pretty funny. To those of you cultured enough to have read Parte 7. But yeah, this arc is great. We get to see more Crazy Diamond, too. If I had one complaint about this fight, it would be that it's a little repetitive and doesn't have, I guess, it would more be that it's not like a typical stand fight, like it has, maybe that's its strength. But, this is the only, like, decisive moment, really, in the fight. Like, Josuke figures out, he reverts the ingredients, and for some reason that reveals Pearl Jam, even though it wasn't... Actually, I don't know, does that imply that Pearl Jam is, like, an infinitely producible, like, colony stand, where he just generates more of them and puts them into the food? And, like, grinds them up? Actually, fuck. That follows with something else that I don't even want to spoil, that I'll talk about later. That actually lines up with a little bit of information that we learn in Purple Haze Feedback. I will go no further into detail there. It's not something super significant, but that actually does line up with something else. So I guess he grinds up his stand and puts it into the food. The iconic panel, I'm gonna fix that spaghetti. To those of you who paid close attention at the intro to part 1, where they show the at the very beginning, with like the pages of the black and white manga like flickering by, they use this pose for Josuke. His spaghetti punching pose is like his iconic pose that shows up there. Oh, that's good shit. Just good shit. So he fixes the ingredients, a little bit more like fun, Crazy Diamond shit, although if I really wanted to be a nitpicker here, were there really entire tomatoes in this sauce, like with the green part and everything? Do they just blend all that shit up, the seeds? I feel like it wouldn't make a complete tomato, but whatever. I'm willing to forgive that. Then we get Pearl Jam, which I think was called Pole Jam in the translation. Really weird looking stand. I don't even know what I'm looking at, honestly. It's like a tomato with eyes and like hands, and it's got like a weird thing instead of a like stem. What the fuck is this? I've never really taken a good look at this stand, honestly. It doesn't play a huge role in the part. I wish Chef Man would make me spaghetti that realigns every bone in my body. Yeah, oh man, it's like this arc makes you want to like sit up straighter. Just like thinking about your like physical health. Alright, he was eating it. He's a stand user. And then we get this fake out. I think in the anime at the beginning of the episode they added a little like ominous thing of like Tonio like chopping something with like a big knife in like darkness at the beginning to make him look extra menacing, and it showed like this dog in the shadows. And we're gonna see that dog again here. So Okasu's freaking out. Josuke's running like just some normal human running. You know, just running like a perfectly normal human being. And then we see this little dog eating the same thing Okasu ate. And it's like fucking innards come out, of course, because it's a dog. Tonio, for some reason, is starting to act like a serial killer. For no reason. Basically just because Araki wanted to, like, pull a jape on everyone. Like, there's no reason for him to be acting like this. Later they're like, oh, he didn't want him in the kitchen, like, without washing his hands. But here he says, you saw everything. You saw everything. That cannot be explained with the soap thing. That cannot be explained with that. So we get to see this dog's fucking, like, innards pour out. Because of course. Thanks, Araki. Okasu's eating more of it, even though his stomach is dying. A rare appearance of the Snarf character. Okasu's guts start spilling out. Don't eat that meat! Well, I think in the anime dub, it's like... What is it? For Christ's sake, drop the meat! Or something like that. He comes up behind with a brick of soap, and it looks like he's about to fucking, like, bash his fucking brains in. I'm not gonna forgive you. And then there's the fake out that it's soap. And he was really a nice guy, and Okyasu's having flowy poops, and everybody's happy, and the dog is fine. Aren't you silly for thinking this was ever anything menacing, even though he said you saw everything? Which makes no sense. No sense! He doesn't want his recipe stolen. No. It's a subtle, tricky dish. The ingredients are top secret. I do not want anyone to see. Yeah, whatever. Like, what the fuck? Why would that be a secret? Like, it's your fucking stand. How can he tell his constipation's gone? Look at his face. Does that tell you all you need to know? This is the face of a man who has pooped. Okuyasu has shit in his pants. Look. Look. He's shitting himself. He's squatting and shitting himself right now. My intestines are feeling great. That's what this is. Oh yeah, they show off their stands and he's like, oh god, they're way cooler than mine. He shit himself. So, he gives a little bit of backstory. But he's not super fleshed out in this, but he actually does get, like, it is good that he has his own motivations. He's, like, different. He's not really an antagonist. He's, like, a fake-out villain. And he's actually, like, a really nice, lovable character. Who has his own quirks. Bacteria is the worst enemy. And then, I don't know about you guys. I've never had flan before, but apparently it's a popular dessert in Japan. This makes me want to eat some, though. And one last fucking, like, meme. 2 last memes. Okyasu screaming with shit still in his pants. And now Tonio is just gonna be in a bunch of group shots for no reason. Because he never shows up again in, like, a meaningful way. I think he comes back when, like, the whole, like, town gang meets up, like, halfway through the part. And maybe at the end. But he really doesn't play a role in the rest of the part. Okyasu used the hand to wipe his ass. He scraped it away. He also got a little bit of his ass in there. Oh, that's childish. A good shot showing how close Josuke and Okyasu's houses are. That's fucking intense. That's a weird coincidence. I guess they're drawn to one another by, like, fate. Gravity! Here we got Josuke playing a SNES. I mean, that's clearly a SNES, right? I think in the anime it was actually an N64. And he might have been playing That's a Baseball from part 3. Or no, I think he had, like, some weird, like, blimp shooter game. We got some casual like household abuse from Tomoko. We don't get to see too much of her, but we do get some characterization, and it actually kind of does get paid off near the end with the Enigma fight. But look at this. It looks like she's just like rainbow kicking his back. It looks like she just like stomped both her legs onto his back. In the anime, it's more like playful, like tapping. In here, it just kind of looks like she's beating the shit out of him. And then, oh, right, okay. So we saw Chili Pepper, Red Hot Chili Pepper for a little bit. I'm probably not going to say Red Hot Chili Pepper every single time. They just call him Chili Pepper in the anime dub, and I'm fine with that. It's even more effort in Japanese. Red Hot Chili Pepper, or something like that. I know that sounds racist, but I think that's actually roughly how they say it. Tomoko is kind of thick. And she kind of does look like that. She looks like a DBZ character. Is that Krillin? I thought, doesn't she look like, what is it, Android 18 or whatever? I don't know DBZ, so I'm probably embarrassing myself here. But Chili Pepper starts off by, like, doing some Hermit Purple Part 3 shit. Kind of, where he, like, voiceovers a movie? I don't know what's up with that. And he's, like, in the movie. That's kind of whack, isn't it? Honestly, the town inside this movie looks a lot like Morio. In fact, is it Morio in the... I feel like that fountain is familiar. Whatever. So we get to see redesigned Chili Pepper. Now he doesn't look like quite so much of a fucking alien. He actually has irises to his eyes now. But anyway, that's just a little bit of stylized nonsense, like the classic JoJo shit. Oh, but wait. For this one panel, maybe he switches back and forth between having the weird eyes? He's got the weird eyes for that one panel, but then the rest of these panels, they're normal again. Maybe that's just when he's, like, angry. Because earlier on, he looked hella, like, crazy. Alright. So, I remember when so, part 4, like I said, was the first part that I ever consumed, and I did it by watching the anime instead of reading the manga. And at the time, Chili Pepper was, like, my absolute favorite. And now he's slightly forgettable, but him and his stand user are pretty great. It's a memorable fight, I think. He is switching back and forth. I don't remember him doing that eye shit in the anime. They have a little, like, shit-talking session, and he goes, oh yeah, I'm trying to, like, test my abilities, because he wants to kill... Actually, why does he want to kill Jotaro? I think he just wants to kill Jotaro because he knows Jotaro will hunt him down. Hold on, I actually want to get his motivation clear. I think it's just because he wants to, like, wreak havoc and, like, cause trouble with his stand. Or is it just because he wants to be a strong lad who killed Jotaro? That might also be it. I think it's because he wants to, like, cause trouble and he knows Jotaro will hunt him down otherwise. So we get a good, like, sort of, almost like a part 3 Jotaro type thing. Where the guy's taunting him and he just fucking, like, punches him and just starts, like, beating the shit out of him. Because the guy severely misunderestimated him. Mr. Underestimated him. He got cocky like a chicken, guys. But then he gets, like, more energy. It's... Chili Pepper kind of has some, like, lazy... He kind of looks like... He actually resembles a Dragon Ball character as well. I don't know which one. He vaguely looks Dragon Ball-esque. And he has this weird power thing where he can, like, draw power from the power lines, but it's, like, risky or something. There's this scene with this fucking absolute lad. Look at that face. Unbeknownst to us, his head fills this fucking hat. This entire hat is filled with his head to the brim. It's just that his face is on the lower third of his head. And then Tomoko somehow is not more suspicious about that. Like, Josuke's just like, oh yeah, it wasn't anything. It was literally nothing. We get this meeting from the Speedwagon Foundation, which they have lower and lower presence as parts go on. Part 5, they basically have no presence at all. A little bit. Tiny bit at the beginning. I don't know why everybody says this, but people always say, oh man, what if this could have been Kakyoin doing this? Is it because this guy has a wide mouth like Kakyoin? But a lot of people are like, oh, if Kakyoin had survived part 3. Wait, what? They show up in Stone Ocean? I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I said that those comments are in response to, but something is in part 6. Yeah, people do. I mean, I miss Kakyoin too. Oh, the Speedwagon Foundation. Yeah. I guess they do a lot in part 6. But up until that point, they go less and less. Like part 4, they're there for like part of it. Part 5, just a bit at the beginning. So now we got Koichi, who is still like kind of in the middle of his transformation from like baby child into like Guile, basically. His hair has not fully transformed into what it will one day be. I guess we get more characterization for Okuyasu, and we actually get one of the better Okuyasu moments coming up here. The fight that happens. He's like pissed off about Chili Pepper because it killed Keicho. And for some reason, Okuyasu has like a crazy like motorcycle, like an electric motorcycle or something. Or I guess it's just a normal motorcycle, but for some reason he has one. He's not like rich or anything. Like his shirt says billion, but does this family have like a fortune or something? Like how did he get a motorcycle? He's like a high school student. Come on! So a little bit of explanation here. This is kind of an expository scene, but he is talking about Joseph Joestar showing up. And they're saying that Hermit Purple will be able to travel through electrical wires and find Chili Pepper. Which I guess Chili Pepper was right to suspect Jotaro, because Jotaro is like sniping his ass right now. Oh, stretch. Sorry, gotta do a big stretchy. Oh. So, yeah. We get more mention of Joseph Joestar. Great faces in this part. Just wonderful. Some of the like goofier like background faces that are like less detailed just are golden. And then Jotaro's like, the biggest threat is someone finding out his identity. And then they're like, oh shit, Chili Pepper found out our identity and that Joseph Joestar's coming. Fuck. That's an awesome panel. Even his license plate is a dollar bill and a yen sign. Like, what the fuck? Plot convenient motorcycle. It's conducive to the fight that happens more than the overarching plot. I guess there's no other way that Chili Pepper would have heard everything. I don't know. I feel like it's forgivable because it's used in a clever way in the fight. and the motorcycle gets fucking destroyed. This was something in the anime, so he drives away on the motorcycle. Then Okuyasu chases after him with his like teleportation thing. And then Josuke and Jotaro and Koichi are just like casually walking behind them, like following the fight. They're not like in the anime, they're clearly not running. And they're clearly like they're like trying to get to the fight, but they're moving so slowly and just like casually talking over it. It's like, guys, go help. It's like they know that this is like Okuyasu's burden to bear. But then Okuyasu fucks it up. They should have known that. Hmm. Ah. Joseph could then do that with like sheer heart attack. Well, Josuke was able to like fix sheer heart attack and basically nullify it. But it's shown that Joseph is not great at taking spirit photos, and they come out like hazy. And since he was able to take one from across the world, from Japan, I think distance doesn't matter at all. So it's not like him coming closer would make it easier for him to show up and just find Kira, basically. So Okuyasu swipes away at the bike. Pretty badass. He's got his fucking hands in his pockets for all this, and he's standing on the back of a moving motorcycle and just casually jumps down. The bike is trashed. At least it was second-hand. Shit, did he mention that he like got it from Keicho or something? Maybe they explained why he has a bike, and I just missed it. There's, I think in part 4, I can't remember if this happens much in other parts, but part 4 had this like glow around people that are using stands for some reason. And this might just be something that was like interpreted in the coloration of the comic, but I don't remember if this like shows up in other parts. If it does, I feel like it doesn't show up as much. But here they kind of have like a Dragon Ball glow to them. Okuyasu is pretty badass in this fight. This is one of his better fights, even though Chili Pepper kind of dunks on him at the end. What was it about Jotaro's hat? Was it this one? It's a very bizarre thing. So then Chili Pepper's like, okay, you want to fight? I'll fight you. I'll whoop your fucking ass, because I'm amazing. But he's scared of Jotaro. Here it shows them, like, running, but in the anime, where it's, like, talking isn't, like, free, and, like, we have to, like, time everything out, this fight, it seems to have weird pacing issues, because, again, Jotaro, Koichi, and Josuke are just, like, casually strolling over to the fight. It doesn't make any fucking sense. We get the foot! You've heard of the hand, now look at the foot! He fucking stomps this man into the ground, which is hilarious. He swipes at him a few times, but Chili Pepper was just tricking him, and he makes Okuyasu like second guess himself through some trickery. I like the paneling here. This is very nicely done. I don't know, not a whole lot to say about that, but that I like it. And then he says, I'm tired of thinking of all this shit. Me brain hurt. This is something that would probably trick me if I was a stand user. And Chili Pepper uses this, I think it's like his eyes glow like that when he like charges up or something. but he, like, uses the underground power lines. And now he's got a bunch of energy. This is a super, like, super anime thing to do. Look at this shit. This is, like, not only does he look like a Dragon Ball character, but he acts like one. I don't know much about Dragon Ball, but this just strikes me as, like, a very sort of anime thing to do. Takes out his pinky and slices his arm, and then does the swift turn around and walk away before anything even happens. And then the hand gets chopped off. There's another severed hand. He taunts Okuyasu, brings up his dead brother, and drags him into the fucking, like, power lines again, which is brutal. Especially because he's got an arm cut off. Then Josuke and Jotaro act super weird here for no fucking reason. They start just going like, oh yeah, yada yada, oh whatever. Yeah, we'll have to find him some other way. And Koichi's like, oh, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, Okuyasu just fucking died. But then they're like, oh, there's nothing to worry about, Koichi. Since he got his right hand severed, Josuke can use Crazy Diamond. Like, both of them realized this at the same time and know for certain that this is how it works. It's because he got his right hand cut off, they can punch the hand and make Okuyasu's entire body come back to it. Even though he got pulled in. We see him get pulled into the lines. Like, this makes no fucking sense to me whatsoever. It's, like, supposed to be that his right hand is the one that swipes, so it's, like, bound to his stand, I guess, in some way, and then that they can, like, I just don't know. It's like, if it was his left hand, would it not have worked? And then the fact that they act so, like, nonchalant about it. They're both like, oh yeah, Koichi, how could you even not, like, how could you even possibly worry? Like, they have no idea why he's crying. They're like, Okuyasu's fine, you're an idiot. They're, like, not even worrying about it. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess we should probably bring him back, after, like, a while of talking, while Okuyasu's getting, like, fried inside the power lines. Like, what? And then, yeah, later on, Josuke punches somebody's severed hand and it zoops back to their body, rather than their body zooping back to it. Like, what? Anyway. Like, in both of those situations, it was with a stand that's, like, bound to their hand in some way. Like, the only situations where that happens. And both of them get their hands cut off and then healed by Crazy Diamond, and different things happen to him. Anyway. And then they're just like, oh yeah, Okuyasu, you're just fine now, right? Like, what the fuck? He got, like, turned into electricity. Okay, and now we have Joseph Joestar showing up. Holy shit, and he's senile. Oh no, he's a fucking idiot now. It's just like, I feel like to make it slightly more realistic, they could have had Josuke... You could have had Josuke be like, I know they're JoJo characters, so they, like, know way more about the situation than a normal person would. But it would be a lot more humanizing to have Josuke be like, oh shit, would this work? Like, you know, I'll try punching his fist with Crazy Diamond, maybe that'll bring him back. But here they're just like, oh yeah, of course that'll happen, yeah, sure, blah, 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 blah. So, and then I guess right after this, Jotaro's like, okay, now I know exactly what the plan of Chili Pepper's gonna be. He's gonna take he's gonna, like, what is it, a controlled hobby airplane. And he's gonna fly towards us with the battery of the airplane. It's like, Jotaro, I know you're a great detective. How the fuck you know that? That's some fucking quick deduction. And then he was absolutely right. It was literally, it wasn't a drone. It was a fucking... It was a fucking, like, World War II or whatever. I don't know what that's from. It's an old model hobby airplane. He completely saw through my plan to use a remote-controlled plane. Oh, and then we get Akira. Oh, so good. This is one of the best stand users. We get a glimpse of Chili Pepper's actually kind of small. It's kind of a little like scrawny thing, even though it's very powerful. But Akira Otoishi or whatever, what the fuck is his name? Great Koichi face. He just comes out fucking playing guitar. I don't know what's up with his, he's got like a purple scar over his eye. I don't know what's up with that. Is that like makeup? Akira Otoishi. There it is. He's got a bit of a bulge. So he's a big fan of Beck and Jimi Hendrix. And he just wants to be a musical star. This is actually like a rare instance of a JoJo character being super into music and that being like part of their character. It's actually like so rare in the series, weirdly enough. Like they say like, oh, you know, Josuke's favorite artist is Prince or whatever. But here, it's just like, what? Why are more characters not like this? Because clearly, music takes a huge influence on the world. Whatever, the world of JoJo. Stevie Ray Vaughan's also damn good, and Eddie Van Halen. In the anime, they got some pretty like nice fucking shredding. I mean, I'm not a guitar player, but they got some very good like cheesy sounding like riffing going on. Anyway, he's like, oh yeah, Josuke, I'm gonna use my pinky to beat you. And then Josuke kind of gets a little, like, no you moment. Where he's like, alright, I'll fucking punch your pinky and destroy it. A little bit of minor gore there. Oh my god. Oh, what the fuck is this? In the beginning of the 20th century, the lone Englishman, R.E.O. Speedwagon, traveled across America and found several oil wells, making him one of the richest men in the world. Afterwards, the world? Afterwards, he decided to use his massive personal wealth for the good of modern medicine and environmental conservation. Thus, the Foundation was founded. Yeah, I'm sure a foundation was founded. That's a tautology. This was the birth of the Speedwagon Foundation. Within the Foundation is a section devoted to investigating bizarre phenomena. In quotes, and this sector consistently supplies Joseph and Jotaro with support and information on the wishes of the late REO Speedwagon. The headquarters are located in Dallas, Texas, but there are smaller branches located in Tokyo and Meguro. I don't even know what the hell Meguro is. I'm assuming in Japan? This has nothing to do with the story, but it is an explanation of Akira Otoishi's guitar. And then they go into all this. I think this was also lost in the anime. I don't think they show this. Another little fun, like, detail. Show more maps. Oh, I love it. Good, like, world building. It's like, he's very consistent in some things, but very inconsistent in others that might seem easy to some people. It's interesting. And then we get an amazing moment. This was also really well done in the anime. He just, like, riffs hardcore. This anger, who do I attribute it to? I think that's what he says in the anime. And he fucking riffs on his guitar so hard that it cures his broken pinky. One-handed tapping. And does, like, some crazy, insane solo to, like, fix his injury. It's like, that's not part of his stand. That's like the healing power of music, I think? I don't know. That's not part of Chili Pepper. Did he just eat some, like, Tonio mushrooms or something? What the fuck? It's so over the top and so hilarious. Just seeing his, in the anime especially, seeing his finger just go like, and just like go back into place. Then we get this fight, which is kind of fun, this weird little like whack-a-mole fight, where Chili Pepper's like popping out of places and Crazy Diamond has to try to predict where he is. So Josuke, I think he like punches the asphalt and fixes it into like tar. Coal tar, again, for the second time, is gonna be like the tide turner in a JoJo fight. Just like the Empress. So then you see a bubble coming out before Chili Pepper actually shows up. I think this is the end of the volume. Yep. And he gets the upper hand on Chili Pepper. That's kind of like the lesser part of the fight, is this whole coal tar thing. I don't know. Especially in the anime, it's hella drawn out. Here it only takes a few pages, I guess. I love that the airplane is just like sitting there for the rest of the fight too. Sorry, let me get my folder out. I lost it because I went to my memes. Oh, you and your memes. Oh god, that was only, we just did one volume just now. Good lord. I'll probably speed up a little bit today. This is an iconic image, and this was actually used... Can you guys see? Okay. This was actually used in a later episode when they're explaining Josuke's backstory with his hair. Like, this little image of Koichi and Okyasu shows up for some reason without all the rest of this shit. It's kind of strange. I'm glad, by the way, I'm glad the Twitch notification went out today. The last time I streamed Part 4 podcast, the notification didn't go out, and it was like something a bunch of people have been waiting for. And then, like, Twitch, like, fucked up, and nobody watched. But now I got 100 viewers, that's pretty good. Exactly 100. We get a little bit of inner monologue from Josuke. He's starting to, I mean, he's really starting to look like late Part 4 Josuke, which is the better version of his design. It's good. Josuke's definitely not a flat character. Like, we get to see his inner thought process. He has flaws, he has desires. It's good. Although he is pretty OP. Oh! Does Josuke always wear gloves? I think just sometimes. He's got them in a lot of cover panels, I feel like. Those are kind of just like Mickey Mouse gloves, basically. And then there's this shit. He takes all the energy of the city. He's like, oh, at the cost of the city losing power, I'm gonna like suck up all the electricity and become like ultimately powerful. And can I just say, Crazy Diamond just looks great. I love the color scheme for it. That's like maybe my favorite part. It's just got such a great like feel to it. Very well designed. Just looks awesome. I'm like normally not into this, like it's one of those things where like if you had shown me like this image before I like read JoJo, I'd be like, ah, it's just like some cliched, like some dudes in like armor or whatever. But the way that it's done in JoJo is very compelling. It's surprising. It's something that I think is why the series gets so much ridicule. Is because it, from a distance, it just looks really like stupid and schlocky. But it's actually got some. It's really well made. I love his stupid fucking heart head. Yeah, me too. So he uses all the city's power, and he fucking, like, goes into the... Is he coming out of the ground? Weird. Okay, Josuke pops a tire with his stand, and then seals Chili Pepper inside the tire. Then there's this, like, fake out. Another thing, this doesn't make sense plot-wise, but it's just there for it to be a fake out. He goes, oh no, the tire! Oh, god damn it! My electricity can't flow, the source is cut off, I'm running out of power, and it shows him even saying, like, freaking out as Chili Pepper on the inside of the tire. And then he's just like, actually no, that was all just a joke. Maybe if this was 10 feet thick, 10 feet thick, whoa. I get some good new words out sometimes. If this were 10 feet thick, then maybe it could, like, contain me, but I can easily get through this. And he gets out, but then Josuke's like, actually, your trap was part of my double reverse backwards trap. And now the air pressure from the tire is gonna blow you into the water. It's good shit. And then Koichi kind of explains how electricity would disperse in water. And Chili Pepper kind of dies, but, like, not really. Actually, there's so many inconsistencies in this fight. Because Chili Pepper, like, we see him falling apart, dissolving in the water, like, with no hope. How would he get out of the water? Like, he's fucked. It's your shitty self that stinks. And then he dies standing up. They have, like, the mist come off of him, but he's not actually dead. He, like, comes back later. What if the tire went the other direction? He fixed it in one direction so it would go that direction. He fixed it directionally. I don't think you understand. Wouldn't the tire just explode? Okay, I was joking about that other one, but I don't think tires just explode when they pop. When you, like, burst it in one part. I don't know. I've never punctured a tire and watched it zoom across the room. I don't know. So we get this moment with Okuyasu talking to old Joseph. And we basically, yeah, Joseph's old and can't fucking, like, hear or understand what's happening. And he asks a little bit about Josuke. He's like, oh, does he talk about me? Okuyasu's like, nope. And he's like, ah. And then I think this right here is Akira. Look at that, the purple hair. This is Akira right here. He's still alive. Like, how did he do that? How did he do that? No, Araki. How did he do that? He was, like, dead on the shore behind Josuke and Koichi. His stand was in the ocean dying. And then he swam through the water to the boat faster than the boat could show up and got the guy's clothes and changed his clothes and knocked out a guard or whatever. It's like, damn, that's some quick thinking and performance there. How the fuck did you do that? Twin brother. More characterization. I do like the arc that, like, Josuke's very realistic. He's like, you know, I'm glad he's alive, but now that we've killed Chili Pepper, there's really no point for him to be here. And he's like, I just feel weird because it's gonna be awkward because he's an estranged father figure. He rode the plane. He rode his body rode the hobby airplane. Very weird. Oh, also, Akira's collars say AC/DC. I don't know if I mentioned that. Like, imagine being Joseph, and, like, you fight Cars and Wham and AC/DC, and then later on in your life, artists in the real world appear named Wham, AC/DC, and the Cars. It's just like, what was Joseph thinking when that happened? You know? Anyway, We see him sweating in the Pentagon hat. Oh, actually, hold on! Holy shit! It's exactly Pentagon. Holy shit! Yes. Oh, I was just saying that as like the joke, but there's a genuine, bona fide Pentagon in this. Oh yes. Then we get this Okyasu having a big brain moment. We get this, my stand is in pieces. It's like, no, but how is it alive? Oh. Does Gray not know AC and DC are electric-castle terms? Haha. No, I do. It's also a fucking band, and this guy's a guitarist. And it's a music reference and an electricity reference. I never said, oh, why does it say AC/DC? That has nothing to do with electricity. Oh. But we get this awesome moment where Okyasu just fucking decks him in the face. Just hardcore. It's so fucking good. In the anime especially, because it comes in with a music cue. But Red Hot Chili Pepper kind of like, or Akira tries to trick Okyasu, but then Okyasu just wins off of a guess, basically. Like he says, I was gonna beat both of you up if I got it wrong on the first one. Anyway, now the fight's over. And Joseph is here. And he breaks his cane, and Josuke holds his hand to like guide him, and then Okyasu's like, no wait, you should just fix it with your stand. Like a fucking like moron who doesn't understand the character building that's going on. Is the canon original name Wamu or Wham? I think it's Wham. Like I think it's Wham with an exclamation point, Cars with a C, and AC/DC, like just the letters. I think those are the actual names of the Pillarmen, even though there are these weird, like, romanified, like, names for them that we have in English. Wamu, AC/DC, the ESI, or whatever, and Cars with a K. I kind of prefer Cars with a K, but whatever. And then Koichi talks for a while, end scene. Not really. It's nice. This is a good scene. Even Jotaro is smiling. Here's Tonio showing up again for no reason. And Josuke with the gloves. Now I'm gonna, like, pay attention to that. And try to see, like, when he's wearing gloves. Oh, look at this. That's honestly kind of awesome. Chili Pepper is like a, it's a Part 8 stand now. Basically. It just looks like a Part 8 stand. It seems that in the Japanese voice actor stuff, it sounds like they say Wamu already, but that's because in Japanese, the way that you, like, phrase words, like, it would be Wamu, I think, if they were trying to say wham. I think the way it gets sort of, like, translated over, right? Anyway. I'm trying to think, is this the train station? I think this is the same train station. Like, there's the Morio Grand Hotel. This is the train station from the Hazamada fight. And then I guess the docks are nearby here, too? They give a brief explanation on Akira, which, is that a reference to Akira? Like, he's got, like, a syringe with the no sign over it, which in Akira, the movie, the classic animated film and old manga, it's a pill. Like, is that an Akira reference? It's a similar, like, design for a jacket with, like, a different drug switched out. And then the brief explanation, he goes into prison, basically. And then I think Otoishi, he says that he, like, pierced other people with the arrow, right? Oh, and they got the arrow. Actually, I think they learn later that he, like, pierced people with the arrow. And a rat, for some reason. So, oh, is this the baby? Is this the invisible baby arc? Holy shit. Okay, let's talk about the invisible fucking baby. This is a whole thing. And honestly, the fact that we're just now being shown the arrow and the fact that Akira had it, and then right after that we go into the invisible baby. It's like, did Akira create him? Because, like, Keicho also had the arrow. And he, it's like maybe Keicho stabbed the baby? I don't know. But this baby is never explained. And, like, people talk about this as, like, a major flaw of Part 4 or whatever. I think it's excusable, but at the same time, it really would have been nice to figure out why the fuck this baby is here. Like, basically what happens, I guess, to any madmen who might be watching this stream without having actually seen it, there is an invisible baby on the ground, just here. And they figure out that it's got a stand that makes it invisible. Somebody's saying they're a natural-born stand user. Do we have confirmed information on that? Is there confirmation that that's real? I don't know if we know that. Because we never learn the origin of this baby. It's just here, just crawling on the road. For some reason, it's just sitting there, by the side of the street. The mom is referenced to have been killed by Kira? Is that true? If I could get any confirmation on that. If that's anything more than just a theory, or, like, speculation, I would love to see more information on that. That really sounds like speculation, though. But anyway, there's just a baby here. I mean, this is before Kira shows up at all in the part. So that would be some cool, like, forethought. But like, what? Sorry, I'm reading chat right now. I don't know. I don't know. Let's just let's go through, and I'm gonna, like, briefly scan the dialogue to see if there's anything they mention about it. I don't recall them ever coming even close to resolving this plot line, even though the baby does come back into it somewhat, and it's not like a completely insignificant character, and it's like a fun arc. It's a good arc, good character moment for both Josuke and Joseph. But, like, what? Like, they say, oh, the stand is increasing in power because she's stressed. It's an invisible baby. Why would they be crawling here? I'm sure it's a stand ability, but why would a stand's attack turn... Okay, blah, blah, blah. Where's the mother? That's the biggest question for me. Like, where is the fucking mom? It has an unconscious stand ability. After being separated from its mother, it's instinctively turned invisible. This is all stuff we knew. Look, he even says, I think what we need to do is find the mother. Yes, I believe that this problem will be solved when we find her. Fucking, like, cricket sounds. Fucking extreme cricket sounds. Like, it's not that her character gets zero resolution, it's just that, like, they specifically bring that up and then never mention it. Is the baby visible to non-stand users? I think it is still invisible, because later on a dude throws a cigarette into the like, the baby carriage, because part of it's invisible and he thinks it's just trash. Somebody said they mentioned the Morio high missing person rate. Morio is still far from peaceful. Something is lurking in the town somewhere. That could be seen as a vague Kira. Like, why does he bring that up right there? But then, oh, that's such, like, it's such a stretch to then be like, oh yeah, the mother was killed by Yoshikage Kira, and the kid just happened to be a natural-born stand user, which we have no information on. We got invisible poop. Add this to the piss and shit counter for Jojo, because there's more poop. Oh, we get this fucking weird scene where he goes into, like, the baby store. Old Joseph takes Josuke's credit card and goes into the baby store. We get this fucking, like, Zelda character right here. And we get this very extensive scene where Joseph buys, like, diapers and, like, a baby bottle and, like, a million... It goes on for so long in the anime. This guy just rambles on and on about, like, baby supplies and, like, rubber nipples. Rubber nipples. It's like, bro, why is this in here? I genuinely don't even understand what this part is about. Is it just supposed to be like, oh, Joseph is an old man and he's flustered and confused and, like, overwhelmed by modern stuff? Like, why does this scene exist? What the fuck? I think it's just to show that he's very doddering and confused, and to set up the whole joke that he, like, bought, like, a million things. And then just, like, wasted all Josuke's money. The baby just got away from the man because it's invisible, but they at least postulate the idea that the baby turned invisible because it was separated from its mother, because its ability seems to be activated by stress. Anyway. Oh yeah, he bought makeup for the baby and paints a horrific face on it. Actually, hold on. Why does this... Okay, never... This isn't even... It doesn't even look that similar. I just got a flashback. I was like, this thing kind of looks like the final boss of Wario Land 4. A little bit. Actually, no, that's totally fair. Look at it. It's actually kind of similar. Stupid. But yeah, this baby's creepy as shit because it's invisible and they, like, paint a face onto it. But here we are, yeah, Octung Baby. I don't think they ever actually say its name in the manga. Maybe they say it during, like, the stand info page or whatever. But it's called Octung Baby. And she can make things in, like, a radius around her disappear. They put her in a carriage and then it just feels like a lot of times when Araki's like, oh yeah, a character has an invisibility power. It's not just they're like, oh, they're like the Fantastic Four lady who can turn invisible. It's like, it's activated by stress, and it's like it's like a bubble of invisibleness that appears in, like, a radius around them. So you can do all this crazy visual shit. that you like couldn't do in any other situation. This like really surreal, like weird stuff. Anyway, am I pronouncing Octung wrong? Octung? I'd be willing to believe that. It's trying to protect itself by turning invisible, but then how is anyone supposed to take care of it? If the ability gets any stronger, no one will be able to get near it, and we'll all turn invisible. If I had, like, dark ending for part 4 where the entire universe turns invisible. Like, the baby drowns and makes the world invisible. Then this guy shows up, fucking, like, riding a bike past. He's like, where should I flick my cigarette butt? Could it be anywhere else besides this, like, random pile of trash? He just says, that's some weird junk that's floating in midair. I'm not gonna clean it up. It's like, yeah, why would you clean it up? You're just some dude on a bike. Why are you putting your cigarette butt in there? What the fuck? Then the baby freaks out because it's got a cigarette butt, like, flopped onto it. Or, no, Joseph pushes the carriage out of the way and the baby starts freaking out because of that. We keep having these sort of misunderstandings, like Josuke keeps getting madder and madder at Joseph for Joseph kind of like fucking up, but just because he's trying to help. He's just trying to help. We get cool shit like this. This is a cool shot because it's supposed to be like there's a camera, like the camera or whatever, the viewpoint is underground. But since the ground is invisible, he's just standing on nothing. Just really cool imagery that he does with every kind of, like, ability that he comes up with. So sick. It's like, I wonder if, like, after this, like, do these trees just go back to being visible? Does the ground just remain invisible? Weird. Probably does just go back to being normal. Now we're at the water reservoir. The baby's in the water. Okay, of course, this doesn't actually make sense, because if it was invisible, it would look like a bubble underwater, right? Am I wrong on this? It would look like a baby-shaped bubble underwater. If it looks like nothing, because water isn't completely transparent. I mean, not even, like, this comic isn't trying to say that water is completely transparent, but it kind of is. Because they're like, how am I supposed to find it in the clear water? It's like, well, it should just be like an air pocket thing in the water then. But then adding color to the water. So it is implying that the water is so clear that the baby is, like, invisible in the water. I know it's literally invisible, but you know what I mean. Like, it's impossible to find in the water. But it's like, that should be fine. You shouldn't need to add blood to the water. But it's a cool moment. It's Joseph doing every part. You need to reestablish that Joseph is a badass and he will do badass things. I think it's kind of a sloppy way of establishing that, but I think this is a good emotional moment. And it's good too because it's like Joseph was never really in any real danger because he knows Josuke can heal him, you know? And we get this great shot. Great few panels here. Love it. Good stuff. Good arc, even though it's so flawed. So flawed. It's got so many, like, plot holes. Kind of. I don't know. Missed opportunity for more piss and shit. Oh my god, can you imagine if Joseph had pissed instead? Oh, fuck. That would have been legendary. He's like, I'm adding color to the water, Josuke. And Josuke's like, oh, that's foul. Alright, now time to go back to the little lad. For the manga arc. Yep, we're closing in on Rohan here, folks. It's about to get meta. That's good soup. Oh god, it's been an hour and a half. How long have I been, or how far am I through this? Oh god. Oh, God. Well, at least that Invisible Baby arc is quite short. Quite short. But now we've got the Rohan arc, which it takes quite some time. Oh, and then we're going to start establishing Kira. And we get the rats. We're the rats. I think I'm going to end on volume 8 today. Maybe like midway or at the end of the Shigechi arc. So we'll get to see Shigechi. And then I think next stream, part 4 might have to be in 4 parts, ironically, for streaming it. It's just so long and there's so much to talk about. It's very dense. I don't know if later parts are going to take longer than this. But part 4 is the longest in the manga by a couple of volumes. Yeah. Well, okay. Nope. Chat's gonna fill with corrections. Parts 7 and 8 are, longer. But out of the first 6 parts, part 4 is the longest. Anyway. So, Hazamada is back. Another instance, like, this is something where in part 3, like, Whole Horse comes back and you're like, holy shit, yes! Like, we're reestablishing, we're continuing on with a minor villain, holy shit. This is so awesome. But, part 4 does it all the damn time. It happens all the time. So these guys are both weebs. They're talking about their favorite manga artist, Rohan Kishibe, who draws Pink Dark Boy, which is a fucking hilarious name. Pink Dark Boy. And so I think Hazamada's like, oh yeah, I overheard some businessmen, a real estate agent, talking about his, like, address or something. And he's, like, right in town. And they're like, let's go get his autograph. At his house, like idiot kids. Me? Look how tiny his eyes are! Why is it like that? He looks like a part 7 Goonie. And then we get fucking Rohan. Rohan showing up for the first time. What a clusterfuck of a character. It's so hard to, like, talk about him. Because clearly it's, like, Araki has denied that this is a self-insert character. But it's a self-insert character. Like, come on. He's like a young, prolific manga artist who lives on his own in Japan, who's been drawing ever since he was young, and has had great worldwide success with a series of, like, thrilling manga. Thrilling, surreal manga. It's, like, so obviously. Araki does have a family, I guess. I don't know if he did at the time that this was being written, though. I don't think he did. I think that was a more recent thing. Although I'm not sure there's much information about Araki's family at all. At one point, just on a lark, I was like, what does Araki's wife look like? So I was like, did he marry, like, a fucking, like, supermodel? But I couldn't even find... I don't think I could even find a picture. Because Araki himself is a very, like, beautiful-looking man. Like, he's very youthful-looking, even though he's, like, 55. And he sort of goes on about how the secret to writing interesting comics... He's the anti-Tonio. He's revealing all of his secrets. And he talks about how reality is the core lifeblood of media. Reality itself is entertainment, and it's hard to tell if this is Araki saying this. Like, it's not about the imagination and the fantasy; it's about keeping it grounded and basing things on your real life experiences. The fact that he uses Rohan so much just in this part. And also in all of the one-shots, basically. Like, all of his one-off comics. He's a very prominent character, overall. I don't know. It's hard to tell. He's sort of a self-insert. He is villainous in this. He's supposed to be like an exaggerated Araki, I feel like. So he's like, how does a spider writhe around when it dies? How does it taste? Yeah, because you need to know how things taste when they're fucking when it's being drawn in a manga. He does have a weird headband. Hold on. Rohan is a very, very strange looking man. I don't know what that headband is. I seriously don't. Anyway. He's like, oh yeah, Hazamada, I want to draw the, like... I want to draw you vomiting. And then Hazamada starts going like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh no, you're just making it up now. That's fake. It's not a real vomit. But anyway, they're like, oh yeah, let's just like creep on, let's read the next issue before it comes out. Because Rohan's like, oh, I'm gonna go make tea or something. Yeah. I'll grab a marker from the kitchen, where I keep my markers, not in my art studio. No, I keep all my markers in the kitchen. I'm definitely not baiting you children into getting suckered into my stand. The new manuscript for Pink Dark Boy. So they look at it, it's so mind-blowingly good. This is almost, it does have Tonio vibes, but Rohan's actually sinister. They're like, it's so fucking good! I forgot how extreme it is. They're being like, their hair is like being blown away by how amazing the manga is. They're like nutting. But then that's the trigger for his stand. And this, Heaven's Door is a cool stand. It really is. It's like iconic. This whole like newspaper peeling skin aesthetic. It's so cool looking. It is really fucking busted though. After he like, because after this fight, he says that he like evolved and it's to the point where he doesn't need to get people to read his manga in order to like to like open them up like a book. Which it makes him so overpowered. And that's part of the reason I feel like why the one-shots center around him so much is because his stand is so, like, absolute. And that makes it hard to, like, think about him as anything but a self-insert character, because you could draw this as a comparison to him saying, like, oh, well, I'm the creator of this manga. I have these emperor, like, god powers, and I can change the aspects of the world to my whims, you know? It's like a dark, exaggerated Araki. But anyway, their skin peels off, and it turns into books depicting, like, all of their life events. He gets really creative with this sort of stuff. And then it's almost like self-referential here. Look at this. Because Rohan's like, oh man, all the stuff in your memories, it's so well written and amazingly conceived, and oh man, oh, it's just, you have the perfectly entertaining, enjoyable life. Or whatever, or not enjoyable, but, you know, like, you have the perfectly, like, thrilling life with all these amazing, like, plot points and stuff. I'll use it for my comics. It's like, oh, Rocky, stop. Stop this. And then, oh yeah, he's got a weird voice in the dub, by the way, that I really had to get used to. He's got kind of a nerdy, like, sort of, kind of voice. It kind of fits. I just feel like they'd have to change it for the one-shots a little bit. So he's a little less, like, dorky sounding. So then they establish this whole thing where he can literally write in, like, if it's just like, oh, he can, like, pin you down and make your skin open up and tell you all of your secrets, it's like, that's a fine stand. The fact that he can write things into them, like, new rules, basically. He can basically, like, change their coding to say I cannot attack him. And it's just like irrevocably, like, you're just fucked at that point unless someone else saves you. Look at this, he even does a little sketch of Koichi with the baby eyes. And then he reads Hazamada and he's like, you like touching your sweaty balls. And you bully small animals. And you're just a general, like, dickhead. It just makes Hazamada, like, cry. I think this is, like, maybe the last, or some of the last that we see of Hazamada is this arc. And, he just kind of gets shit on. If he couldn't do that, he'd have no offensive power. Well, I mean, there's some stands that don't have any offensive power, but their user still finds a way to make it work, you know? Anyone. Whoa. I said anyone instead of anyway. Whoa. Anyway. He says, I just want people to read my comics. He's like, that's why I get all these, like, all this reality to funnel into it. He's like, I'm not doing it for the money. So it's like establishing character motivation. He's just truly insane, and just like he's a tortured artist who wants to make just the ideal thing. I'll take your reality for myself. And he starts tearing out pages, and there's like it almost looks like blood, but it's ink, I guess, splattering around. And Koichi's like. But then he can, like, erase their memories, too. So they have no memory of doing this, and they come back to continually get their, like, pages torn out. Which, it doesn't really make 100% sense why he doesn't just take all of their, like, memories. Like, why does he need to tear out the pages? Surely he can just read them and then, like, know the things in them? Ah. So then Koichi's like, oh yeah, I'm losing weight because I'm losing pages of my memories. And then, wow, look at all this information. Look at this amazing, look at this art. Holy fuck. That's so good. Age 20, born in 1979. Hold on, let's look up Araki's, like, stats in real life. Hirohiko Araki. Give me the stats page for Hirohiko Araki. Born 1960. Okay. So Araki is older than Rohan. What is his height? what are his stats? Fuck, I don't even know. Whatever. Representative works pink dark boy. Telephone number private. Damn it. Oh, I wish I could just call him up. Oh, there's an interview. It basically shows Rohan being a dick to the interviewer. Who do you admire? Koji Koseki. The answer is a lie. Rohan believes there is no one on Earth greater than he is. No matter who it is, he looks down on them. What's the most important thing to you in the world? Friends and family. This is a lie, too. There's nothing more important to him than manga. He has no qualms with sacrificing everything for his work. And moreover, he's never felt lonely by the fact that he's alone. Fan letters. Your manga is amazing. Please keep up the great work. Once you start reading, you can't stop. Please give me your autograph. Your art is so weird. It just sounds like these are things. I love you. Marry me. Don't get on your high horse, idiot. This letter will give you bad luck. Send it to 99 other people. It just sounds like this is him, like, aping actual fan letters or criticisms that he may have got in real life. It's just so hard to separate it. Look at this shit! Holy fuck! I love these designs. These were used in Great Days, I'm pretty sure. As the intro. Or at least some of them were. Look at how detailed these are. It's like Keicho's house, the arrows, the symbol of Morio, Jotaro's like Lucky Land symbol, the heart, the peace sign. You got Josuke's house, you got Crazy Diamond's fist coming up, the street signs, the town in the background. You got echoes surrounding Koichi doing the smoky brown pose. It just looks so good. There's a baby bottle there, and there's even... Are these green hands supposed to be the baby's hands, or are they supposed to be like the sludge father? I wonder. Okuyasu's dead. Anyway, Koichi's losing weight, and he doesn't remember why. It's kind of... This is a very, like, horror-esque plot, and I almost feel like when they go, when they say earlier, like, oh yeah, there's an evil lurking in Morio, it almost feels like they were trying to fake you out and be like, oh yeah, Rohan's, like, gonna be the main bad guy now. But not really. He becomes a good guy after this. Koichi watches him working. I can't believe it, such detailed composition with no sketches! Which I know, I've seen time-lapses of Araki drawing, and we know that he draws like any other person, basically. Like, he does sketches, and he does, like, line arts and shit. But here we have Rohan coloring and drawing inhumanely fast, which is hilarious. He takes, like, a million fucking brushes and fucking slaps them on the paper to do the explosion lines. Which I actually always wondered if they just have, like, a bunch of, like, images of radial lines going outward, or if manga artists actually draw each individual line. He, like, remembers everything once the stand gets reactivated. A little weird. Anyway, that's the end of the volume, not chapter. Hold on. I'm sure I have some other, like, stupid Rohan meme. Oh, God. There's this. Didn't you want this in your life? It's kind of, like, weirdly well photoshopped. Alright, alright. Let's get, now we're on Volume 7, Kishibe Rohan's Adventure. Is it a bizarre one? Alright, here we are. Gloves, again. Browse 1614. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, also, Rohan has earrings that are shaped like fucking pen tips. So he's getting pages torn out of him. Josuke and Okuyasu are investigating. This is kind of not the best fight. Like, it's horrific, but it's unconventional, again. Like, I think Part 3 has, like, fighty fights. Part 4 has, like, these thinky, suspenseful, horror-y fights. And then Part 5, spoiler, has the best of both fucking worlds. It's just, like, good fights, good suspense, well written. Here's Okuyasu fucking being a bull, blowing smoke out of his nose before he gets japed by the manga. And I like the way his arm sort of like spirals out when he tries to punch it. He was so affected by the manga too. And he kind of pulls this like trickery where he's like, Josuke can't run away because I'm gonna write in a conditional that if Josuke tries to run away, then Okuyasu will commit suicide by lighting himself on fire. Yada yada. I mean, this is kind of a cool encounter, this whole thing where he closes his eyes and tanks the fucking, like, shit stabbing into his face. And then Rohan makes the ultimate mistake of dissing Josuke's hair, because he thinks it'll get him to open his eyes, and it does. That's an awesome fucking panel. Jesus Christ. But Josuke is so blind with rage, I guess, that he just goes, like, you even see it. They make a distinct effort to, like, show that, yes, he does see it, but he just punches right fucking past it. Which is, again, it's more stuff that's, like, so stupid that it's hilarious. And it is good character building, even though it's such a ridiculous thing. It's like, oh, Josuke can't handle people talking about his hair. But that's actually built into his character in, like, a surprisingly compelling way. Shockingly so. And then he fucking, like, whoops the shit out of Rohan. So, and then right here, Koichi's like, oh yeah, I've heard about this story about why Josuke's hair is so precious to him. Oh yeah, Koichi gets his, like, pages back, too. And they say, it's kind of clever, a part of Josuke's personality even Koichi didn't know about. In other words, information the file didn't contain. But then, at the same time, Koichi's like, I know about the hair thing. Like, he knows about the hair thing. That would be clever, but Koichi literally knows about the hair thing. And he even knows, like, the origin story. But, so now, this is a part that is hotly contested. People like to discuss this a lot. And it's worth noting that at the beginning of it, it's made clear that it's Koichi remembering stuff that he heard and also inserting some of his own guesswork there. So this is when Stardust Crusaders was happening. Cool drawing. Oh, Avdol, you poor thing. He got a pretty bad drawing, though. When Dio got defeated, Josuke got really sick. Tomoko was trying to drive him to the hospital and got stuck in the snow. And this is supposed to be Josuke kind of experiencing the same thing that Holly was experiencing with her stand. With the roses. The holly. I guess it was literally just holly. But, like, the thorns, you know? Which some people have said her stand would be called Guns N' Roses because it's thorns. I guess. I don't know. It's fine. There's actually a branding. Nissan. I wonder if Hamon Beat caught that one in his real brands in JoJo video. And then this guy shows up. Who, this is something... Actually, I'm going to bring up Hamon Beat again. Because Hamon Beat revealed... Or he talked about this. It wasn't a reveal. But he talked about how Araki basically never intended for this to be a time travel thing. Like, a lot of people, when they see this, they're like, okay, that's clearly Josuke. Like, when you see this scene, you're like, it's Josuke coming in from the future to save Josuke as a kid. To, like, save himself in the past with some sort of time travel ability. That's what most people think, because he's all cut up. He must have just escaped from a brutal fight, it says. I think that's the part that really throws people off, is the fact that he's all beat up. But apparently, according to Araki, it's just some guy. Like, maybe the fact that he's all beat up is supposed to be representative of the fact that baby Josuke looks up to this random school kid because he, like, puts others in before himself, or because he's considerate, or because he's a fighter. I don't know. But this is supposed to be that Josuke, as a baby, saw this guy and took inspiration from him and changed his hairstyle. I know it is Koichi's memory, but, like, why would Koichi just add in that he's, like, beat up? Like, Koichi must have heard that, at least, somewhere. That he's all beat up and bruised. But Hamon Beat pointed out that, like, the pins in the uniform are different, which could just be chalked up to Araki having inconsistent character designs. But I think Araki's intention really was, even though it seems confusing, it really was just that this is some random person who just inspired Josuke to act the way that he did. Which is kind of a theme that comes up a lot in JoJo, is being inspired by everyday things. I don't know. But it's, you know, I think people get thrown off. It's like, yeah, if you inspect it, his uniform does look different. But it's the fact that the hair is so exactly the same, and his face even looks the same. Like, it just looks like Josuke, basically. But apparently it isn't. You know? It's just that it's the other way around. It's the chicken and the egg. The Josuke time traveling, or the random dude with Josuke's hair that inspired Josuke as a child. Nobody knew who he was. Indirectly, he'd saved... What do you mean, indirectly? Kind of just did. He admired the boy, even idolized him. And that's why his hair is like that, and that's why he snaps so hard over it, is because in his mind, that's his hero, and insulting the hair is insulting the random of him. Or the, whoa. The memory of him. The random of him. What? And then Rohan tries to, like, draw shit. He's like, oh yeah, I need to draw this for my manga. From then on, Kishibe Rohan's Pink Dark Boy switched to a monthly schedule. Oh god. Oh god. We get a straight up, like, Jotaro gooch shot. How is this anything but Jotaro's fucking gooch? And now so we've got the Jotaro redesign. I need an outfit that says, I love dolphins and I'm ready to measure a 90-degree angle at any time. Oh, that's good shit. It's just Jotaro just casually gets a redesign. For some reason. Also, somebody said it can't be Josuke because his coat is blue. I don't know if that counts. Josuke's coat normally is purple, but Araki doesn't color these. This is like a fan coloring. So in black and white, it would have looked exactly the same, color-wise. But now we got the rat arc. So before Akira Otoishi revealed himself, it says Oitosh, or Otoish there. Maybe a misspelling. He used the arrow to shoot a rat in Moriocho for some reason. Maybe just because he was stoned and he was messing around. But there's also this. He goes, by hunting you don't mean picking up hot chicks. I don't mind, but I'm more of a love kind of guy. I've never really done this kind of thing before. Very, like, some people, I think it's kind of grasping at straws. Some people take that comment to mean, oh, he's not romantically interested in anyone. Like, he's asexual, or maybe he's not interested in girls, or maybe he's gay, or whatever. I don't know. I don't think the sexuality of Josuke is very important at all. A rat like Mickey Mouse! It sounds so stupid when you say it like that. But in Japanese he was probably just like, Mickey da! Or whatever. Okay, damn. Akira, like, shot through the rat. He didn't just, like, poke a rat with this thing. He, like, used the bow. How do you even shoot accurately at a rat with a bow and arrow? What the fuck? And somehow the rat didn't die? This whole thing with the rat is very strange. It's another thing that feels inconsistent with, like, stand rules, especially the fact that two different rats have the same stand. That is the thing that I get hung up on. So we need to hunt down the rat. And this is a cool arc because we get a lot of good Jotaro and Josuke interactions. We get like good character moments for both of them, showing Jotaro as the unflappable badass who knows a lot about fucking biology, and Josuke is kind of wet behind the ears for this fight. Honestly, he's kind of just following on Jotaro's coattails, but he's still instrumental to victory. So then they introduced this. This is another, I'm, like, if I was a guy who was a huge stickler for details, and that was like this, I guess I am kind of a stickler for details, but if that was the sort of thing that severely affected the amount of enjoyment I have for something, I feel like JoJo would have, like, turned me off at this point. Because they do this whole thing, they basically learn how to use their stands as a gun. Like, they just hold ball bearings and shoot them like a marble. They, like, flick them forward with great force. And it's basically a bullet, essentially. And they never use this again. They do use it... Okay, Josuke uses it in the final fight, which is great reincorporation. But I don't think stands, generally, Jotaro never did this again. Even though it would be very useful. It's basically just replacing Starfinger, essentially. Maybe a little faster than Starfinger. But, like, it's like, why don't they ever do this again? I mean, I get, like, it would be stupid if the entire series just became, like, stands launching ball bearings at each other. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense that it never comes up again for, like, the rest of the series. You know? And for some reason they only have a certain amount of them, even though they could just, like, fucking, like, fill a pocket with ball bearings and have basically as many shots as you need. They're like, oh, we only have, like, 3 balls or whatever. We get some cool shit with Jotaro tracking the rat. It's interesting, but I won't go over it. We get this fucking, like, cube of rat jelly, which is even more grotesque in this, honestly. It's fucked up looking in the anime, too. So we're starting to see the rat ability, which the rat's stand name is Rat with 2 T's. Which I don't know that band, but sure. They do stand shots again with Johnny. That's not the same, though. That's not the same, and you know it. That's his specific stand ability. But they go into this random, like, farmer's house. They find more poop. Check it out. Piss and shit counter. I mean, I haven't been, like, religiously counting every time. But, there's a lot of piss and shit, is what I'm trying to say. It's not the same. Steel balls, even, are different. Steel balls are kind of similar, but nobody uses their stand to launch steel balls. It's always just a dude throwing them. That's not the same. And plus, that's in the alternate universe, whatever. We get this weird-looking rat. What's up with its fucking, like... I know it had an arrow shot through it, but what's up with its fucking head? Why does it look like that? And then we get to see this, like, old couple that's been, like, gelled together. And they don't show this, but I think they say that Josuke fixed them. The alt universe only exists because of events, somebody says. That is not true. I know you ended that sentence before you could, like, spoil anything, but that's not true. The alternate universe always existed. I'm not gonna keep talking about it, though. So Josuke corners the rat, he shoots it. By untrue, I mean incorrect. Let's not argue this in the chat, but literally look it up. That's a common misconception. You are wrong. I am afraid. Very common misconception, though. So now we get Rat, which is like a robot-looking stand. Like... It's so strange looking, and it's the fact that two different rats have it. He even says it's pretty mechanical looking. I don't know, what kind of band is Rat? Does anybody know? But it has, its head kind of turns around into a cannon. It's a cool looking thing. It's very, very weird. Very fitting of the bizarre title. But Josuke uses a pan to deflect it, whereas Jotaro caught it with his hand, and it really fucked up. Oh my god. Really fucked up his hand. I feel like they toned that down for the anime. Hair metal, grunge, hard rock band formed in San Diego in 1979. Hell yeah. Oh, what is this? Oh yeah, literally they get called. This is so stupid. Oh god, guys, I think I actually hate part 4. They get a call halfway, like right after they kill the first rat, saying, "Oh yeah, Akira Otoshi he actually shot 2 rats with the arrow, and he hid it until now. Because we used truth serum, he admitted to the 1 rat, but the 2nd rat, that would have been ridiculous for him to admit to the 2nd rat." Like, what? Anyway. I'm just looking through this. I'm just looking to see if there's anything interesting in here. So now they're like, more poop, more piss and shit. Josuke, I think, gets wet feet here. They have to like walk through water, and he has to like ruin his fancy shoes. There's some more like just cool like hunting and tracking shit. Talking about bullets and wind resistance, which is so fucking... And Jotaro just has real bullets. Why didn't you use real bullets for the first part of the fight? It's like Jotaro knew he was gonna get the phone call. I think I hate part 4, guys. I think I hate it. Why did he have these bullets and then not use them for the first fight? He's only got 4 rounds, but like, bro. He knew the plot. My socks are Mr. Junko Originals. Oh my god! That face, holy shit. That is an uncharacteristic face for Josuke. Holy fuck. He looks like Okyasu Goofy there. Then they talk about backtracking, more like hunting shit. And they're like, oh no, we've been cornered ourselves. It's so weird. This fight just feels... and the thing is, I like this fight. I really do. But so much of it is so questionable when you just, like, peel back even the tiniest, like, surface layer. It's like the same stand. For some reason, the new one has foresight, whereas the first one didn't. They shouldn't have killed the first one. It should have just been the same rat. It should have just run off wounded somehow. Like, why? And some people have said, like, oh, well, they have the 2 different animals have the same type of stand because they're, because they're both rats, you know? But, that doesn't really make sense because there are other animal stand users. Like, does that mean every ape has strength? Or, that Iggy, every dog, every one of that type of dog has the fool or something? It makes you ask a lot of questions that I think are not healthy to ask in JoJo. But anyway, we get a cool use of the world here. Jojo just offhandedly says, "Oh yeah, by the way, time stop has been like nerfed so that I'm not completely busted in this part." It's kind of clever that he removes just like the chunk of flesh that had the dart in it so he won't get fucked up. Rats are really stupid and driven by the same instinct. But like, how many degrees of like sentience do you need to get your own original stand? Because right now, apparently, according to this, it's somewhere between rat and dog. Like somewhere between like a rat and like maybe like a falcon, you know? Because there's there's pet shop. But a fucking, like, tree can have a stand. We learn later on. Spoiler alert. Sorry, that's a little spoiler. Trees can have them. Like, rats are smarter than trees. Is what I'm trying to say. Also, I don't want to sound like I'm getting, like, super defensive all of a sudden, but... this fight, a lot of people are like, oh, this means that a rat is more powerful than the world. Because the rat beat Jotaro, and Jotaro beat the world. So that means the rat could beat the world. Or is stronger than the world. But it's like, Jotaro has significantly nerfed world abilities. Like, he can only stop time for 1 second in this. And also, Jotaro literally wins. The rat dies, and Jotaro lives. I don't know, like, the reason Jotaro, like, people will always point to, like, they're like, oh, Jotaro, like, got hit. He got hit with the goo. But it's like, Jotaro knew that he had Josuke with him. That's why he had Josuke stay behind, because Josuke can heal him. He was like, I'll go ahead as bait. I know that you can heal me. So we can fucking win the fight. They literally win. They literally, like, the rat loses. Like, I know people say that, like, as a joke, but I've seen people also try to, like, slough it off as, like, a serious plot hole. And it's just like, bro, that's just not even close to being real. Like, Jotaro didn't lose here. He didn't even get, like, permanently injured. The rat lost to Jotaro and Josuke. I don't know. Like, it's sort of framed in this way where it's like, oh, Jotaro's dying and Josuke had to save him. But it's like, Jotaro did this all with, like, careful planning. Whatever. I'm seeing mostly agreements with what I'm saying in chat, so maybe that's something that's just a fake news opinion. I drank water wrong. I drank water wrong. No, I'm not actually throwing up. That was a joke. Anyway, this is a cool pose with the binoculars, but it's inconsistent with this. Like, one shot right here, and then I guess Josuke just swiveled them. I don't fucking know. And he shoots the rat, and it's cool. This was a cool moment in the anime. It was really well done. They kind of did like an artsy shot of the rat getting blown away. Call me the man who performs under pressure. Yada yada. I guess I can rest easy now. It's such a weird arc. It is good. It's like, yes, the bullet thing kind of gets reincorporated later in the final fight. And yes, it's like a great like character thing and all that. It just feels, a lot of the logistics of that fight are so strange and make you question things so hard. Okay, so now Rohan, it's like, ta-da! Rohan's gonna be a good guy now. My comic's still on hiatus, though. Hey, it's self-aware, because the comic is on hiatus right now. JoJolion, Part 8. Is Koichi walking? Oh, Koichi's walking. I didn't even realize how walking that was. So Rohan's looking for his old house. He's feeling nostalgic and he wants that feeling for his manga, I guess. He's saying that there are streets missing, and so they go to investigate it. Here's more poop, by the way. And actually, in these houses, I think, yeah, the one with the dog. Do we even get to see what its name is? Does it just say dog? Actually, no, that's Japanese. I can't decipher that, but if there's anybody who speaks Japanese or can read it, tell me what that says. But that doghouse actually comes up in a one-shot comic that I will be going through after I finish part 4. It's not Arnold's house. It's a different dog, I think. They're like going through the street. They're not at Raimi's house or anything yet. I recognize this piece of stepped-in dog poo. So they're getting in like a feedback loop. They can't escape the corridor. He uses, okay, everybody pay attention. Echo's Act 1, alright? This is after Koichi has unlocked Echo's Act 2. But he's using Echo's Act 1 right now. All the dispute can be cleared. The dog is Rocky, okay. Clear the fucking air. He can use previous acts of his stand after he's already unlocked later ones. Definitive proof. It can be laid to rest. Anyway. There's this weird shit where he like bumps into the ground from the sky or something. Raimi shows up. Fucking like ghost babe. And she's got her necklace has hands on it, which I never realized. But that's kind of hilarious. And then, okay, here's weird intermediate Heaven's Door that only shows up in the manga. But basically, in the transitory period where, because in the anime, it just made it so that the whole, like, the full stand form of Heaven's Door just came out and, like, touched you or whatever. Here, he draws, like, a face of it. This, like, creepy, smiling face, and I guess it, like, flies towards them. It's very slightly different, but in the anime, they just made it so his full stand form came out. And he's like, oh, a picture just floated through the air. My abilities have improved a little bit. And he says they still won't work on pathetic humans who don't understand my art like Josuke. I feel like that never comes into it, though. He starts to read in way too close. They're sort of establishing that Rohan's, like, turned a new leaf, but he's still a creep, and still doesn't have, like, concepts of, like, privacy and stuff like that. What a boring guy. He thought Koichi was amazing, and now he thinks he's boring? Come on. And somehow he's able to read a ghost? I don't even know. It's like this alley is like some sort of crossover between the world of the living and the world of the dead. I feel like this is something that actually does get expanded upon a little bit later on. So it's like ghosts can like show themselves here more like prominently. So they follow, she fucking like gives them Pocky. Which is like, is it real Pocky? Is that ghost Pocky? I have no idea. She tells their horoscope through Pocky, which telling horoscopes through small accidental things is something that comes up later in this part and is just a general theme in JoJo. It comes up a lot for some reason. Ghosts are canon, so Dio could always be following Jotaro or Giorno. Not really, like not to that full extent. I don't think the ghost of Dio would be around. I'll get into that later on in this part. Maybe definitely in the finale of my part 4 podcast. But she more like fake outs. This is like a double reverse fake out kind of. She like tells them this horrific story that is straight up like I seem to remember seeing this in like creepypastas. Like this is something that like a story that I would hear from like my friends in elementary school is the girl sticking her hand under the bed to feel her dog like lick her hand. Is it like from JoJo? Because I've definitely heard this story in other contexts before. But like, and then it turns out it was not her dog licking her, it was a murderer. Because I definitely heard that when I was like very young, that whole like story. I think it might have been from JoJo. I seriously think so. Either that or it's like a popular urban legend. I don't know. And then she's like, "Oh, I was just joking. Did you really think that was true?" And then she's like, "Actually, it was true. We're fucking ghosts. Fuck you." It's just like, why did you need to take us through that like emotional roller coaster, lady? What are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. Hold on, guys. I have a hangnail, and I need to do my like special trick where I get the nail clippers and I cut it off. It's very satisfying to get like a clean break on one of these. There you go. Woo! Alright, we're on the last volume, by the way, of the day. This is gonna be, I think, part of the Shigechi fight, or all of it. Yeah, I think all of it. Hell yeah, we're gonna get the entire Shigechi arc. That's gonna be the finale of today. Just a second, I know you guys can't see right now. If she just said, "Please find the guy who killed me," she might not get them hooked. That's true. She got him hooked. People are saying there might be an example of that hand licking story from before this. This is a fucking iconic drawing too. Koichi like jumping up in the air for no reason. I think wasn't this might have been used in promotional material for the anime. That particular pose. Oh. So we're learning yet another dog has died. I didn't realize that Heaven's Door showed what Heaven's Door showed me was actually a dead person's life. They try to run away. Oh, here's the shit where Koichi runs into the floor from the ceiling. That's kind of weird. I guess it's just supposed to be like it's fun because like if there was this infinite hallway thing in another work, they might not explore this type of possibility that you could fly out of there. But in JoJo, they're like, nope, what if he tried to fly out of there? He would get hit by the ceiling as the floor. Or whatever, the floor as the ceiling. He would get, like, disoriented. They're like, how the hell are we supposed to fight her? And she's like, I'm not even... Don't fight me. Find my murderer. And so this is the hook for Kira. We're gonna hunt down Yoshikage Kira now. And they get inspired by this partially because Koichi's like heroic, but Rohan has a personal connection to it. Oh, also, this scar, I've seen it so many times. That's how he signs his crimes. Guys, does that come up again? I don't think it does. The souls of his victims always come by this place when they go to heaven, and they all have the same death scar. I don't remember that being a thing for the rest of the part at all. Like, they never show that scar, and nobody else ever has it, and it shows him killing other people, but he doesn't put the scar onto them. Okay. Alright. Yeah, the scar is just a stub instead of where a hand should be. Hold on. Alright. Sorry, somebody posted, there's like a Wikipedia article about the licked hand story. Sometimes known as the doggy lick or humans can lick too, is an urban legend popular among teenagers. Like many urban legends, it has several versions and can be found in print as early as February 1982. Story Bedtime for Sam by D.B. Martin. Huh. There's a forerunner in the 1919 story The Diary of Mr. Pointner by M.R. James, where a young man absently strokes his dog as he thinks while reading an old manuscript of the account of the sinister death of a young student obsessed with his own hair. Of course, the creature crouching at his side is not the dog. Huh. And there's like tons of different iterations of it. And then it actually mentions JoJo Part 4. Cool. Well, interesting. That's fun. So I guess it does predate Part 4, kind of. It's just like a common urban legend. So that kind of confirms it, I guess. Anyway, yeah, she's like, just go kill him. Wreck this monster. Koichi's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And actually, Rohan instinctively at first is like, ah, nah, we shouldn't do it. And then he's like, no, it'll be good for my comics. Don't be fooled and think stuff like, oh, he was a real nice guy in the end. But then it turns out Raimi and him have like a history. She was like his babysitter or something when he was a child, and he was actually there the night of the murder or whatever. And then we get this whole rule that when you're leaving the alley, you have to go a certain way and not turn your back. That's the whole rule. And I haven't gone through this and like looked at all the panels of like when did any of them ever like turn around at the wrong time to the point where they like should have gotten like taken away but they didn't. I'm assuming it's fine. I don't know. I don't care that hard about it. Then it tricks Koichi and the hands come out and start to grab Koichi. Was the doghouse supposed to be for Arnold because the sign on the doghouse didn't say Arnold? Nope. It's for Rocky, who we will get to see later. We will get to see him. And those of you who have read Part 4 are maybe like scratching your heads, but we will get to see him. So he gets grabbed by the hands, but then he gets saved by Heaven's Door's smiley face bullshit. Where it just says, you're launched forward and also you're blind. Which I think the rule is you can't turn around. I don't know if it's specifically looking at them. Like, he's still turned around. Oh god, I got the hiccups. He's still getting grabbed by the hands. Like, what the fuck? But the hands, the hand alley is awesome, though. It's super cool. It reminds me of the helping hands from the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie. If anybody knows what I'm talking about. And she vanishes, and the alley that she was in vanishes too. Huh. This murder business really sends chills down my spine. Huh. Anyway, Koichi tells them about it. Fucking Okuyasu starts creeping on Raimi even though she's dead. Which is a little fucking weird. And basically he just, like, convinces the rest of the crew to get in on it, even though they're like, no, you should just go to the police, you fucking idiot. You think he'll just magically run into him just like that, like you're catching a cab? And then, literally, Yoshikage Kira, his first appearance in the entire part, he almost runs into Koichi. It's fucking hilarious. Oh my god. What a way to introduce the main villain. Just go, we're not just gonna bump into him randomly. Bumps into him randomly. And then, so you see him holding hands with somebody, or like a hand there, but it never shows the other seat, and it seems very unnatural. And then finally you get the reveal that it's a fucking severed hand, and he's just acting all creepy to it. Now Kira, next stream I'll talk a ton about Kira, but basically Kira's great. One of the best characters in JoJo, one of the best villains. And it's so weird because he's a serial killer who has a hand fetish. Like and he's so strange too. He has a very distinct personality. He's such a memorable character. So then here's Rohan discovering through this old monk guy. Who the fuck remembers this character? He learns that he has a personal connection to it and that he was actually there the night of the murder. And that Raimi actually saved him. My stand, Heaven's Door. Can't read the memories I purposely blocked from my mind. Sure, man. Oh, look at this. That's cool. I don't think that shit was in the anime. An unknown being silently commits gruesome murders in Morio. That's kind of a good consistency thing. His credit card looks the same. So he learns that Joseph spent a bunch of his money, which I think actually gets resolved at like the very, very end of the part. Like, it says he returned it here, but really this is a lingering plot thread that gets resolved at the very, very end. And then, oh my god, Harvest, guys. I fucking love this stand. When I first saw this, like, for some reason, this stand just clicks with me. I've talked about, people have been like, oh, you know, if you had a stand, what would it be? It's like, I could think of like some like cool idea or whatever, but really it would be something like this. It's such a neat idea. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, I instantly understand. Like, it picks up coins, there's a ton of little ones. They collect coins and they bring them back to their master for, like, collection, just to, like, get a bunch of money. It's such a neat idea. And this is, I think, if you don't count Pearl Jam, which I think you could, I guess, no, Bad Company is also a colony stand. But this is one of the first colony stands. And one of the only. I think there's only a handful in the entire series. But like 3 of them are in part 4 for some reason. It's like not... It is useful in combat. They like establish this later on. But its utility is mostly in something not combat oriented, and it makes for another really compelling arc, I think, with really, really neat ideas. It feels really fresh, even though I feel like this is something that's been done to some degree before. And then we get fucking Shigechi, which I love the stand. Shigechi himself is a little piece of shit, who has a scythe on his clothes for some reason. I never noticed that. And he's got little head spikes! What is his head? I know everybody talks about this, but what is his head? What are the spikes? He looks like a fucking Rokakaka. He's a little gremlin man. Like, nobody brings it up, but have you noticed you're fucking deformed? Like, you can forgive the body shape, but what is his head? But they like his stand too. There's a picture of his mom. Sure. He eats leftover chewing gum off the back of a photo of his mom. That's a little weird. And basically he's just like a little scrub, and they like give him a few compliments, and then he's like, oh, you think I'm the best ever and you want to be my friends forever? And they're like, I guess, sure. He gives them the money. They kind of like, there's this like tense, weird relationship with them that I kind of like, because it's like, he's not a likable character, but he is, it's easy to understand his motivations, and he's, I don't know, he's just such a disgusting little goblin. And he is humanized, too. But basically, Josuke's like, I've got an idea, you know, we can get a lot more money from this. If you pick up, stamps and, like, coupons and vouchers and shit. So he sends them out and gets them. It's just such a clever idea. And it works perfectly. Harvest. It's like it harvests things. I got more compliments. And it's a cool looking stand too. I like it almost looks Egyptian, something about it. It looks like a scarab, kinda. Friendship is so beautiful. Another fucking fake out, by the way. This just in. Grayfruit hates part 4. How should I put this? There were technicalities that I wasn't aware of. It got turned into money, that's exactly... Oh, it's greatly over our expectations. Never mind. It's exactly what we thought was gonna happen. So they get a bunch of money. This is something, like, when you're watching this arc, you're like, there's no way this arc ends with, all of them being, like, hella rich all of a sudden. But then it does! It ends with them winning the lottery and becoming insanely rich. But Shigechi's being a stingy asshole and won't give them their fair share of the money. But they're like, yeah, whatever, he's a kid. We're adults. We'll be the bigger men and just let this work. But then Okasu's like, wait, we should look through the lottery tickets that we picked up, too. And it just so happens that the first one that he looked at is a winning lottery ticket for 5 million. Or, just 5... Yeah, I think it's 5 million. For a second, I was like, 500 million? We get this great image of Okuyasu. And I love the, like, fireworks that say JoJo. And, like, the peace and dollar and yen sign and shit. Happy! And then that's where the conflict arises, is Shigechi wants all the fucking money. There's this bank teller who's, like... He should be a stand user. He's such a distinct character, and he actually has a lot of personality to him. He's like, my overzealous bank employee flair tells me there's something wrong with the whole affair. Why does he rhyme, too? But he basically, like, tries to jape them out, and he thinks they're fakers. He thinks they're doing it fraudulently, which they kind of are. But then I think Josuke uses Crazy Diamond to, like, fix the writing incorrectly back into different characters, so that the guy, like, can't confirm it with the dude who originally bought the ticket. Which is kind of cool. It's, you know, you don't get a ton of interactions between, like, stand users and non-stand users in part 4. But that's sort of a fun one. And then Shigechi's like, nope, I'm keeping all the money. And they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to whoop your ass. Sorry. Because they're not gonna put up with that for 5 million yen. So then they're like, you know what, we're gonna beat him up and just take it all for ourselves. And then we start to see, your stands are poo! Worthless than a stinky fart! Really? You really wrote that, Araki? Is that a direct translation? But we start seeing the combat potential of Harvest, which is used in really creative ways, I think. The old ants in the pants move. Oh, that is some fucking... Wow. Oh, that's hardcore. Ugh, I don't even like looking at that. As a guy who has had fleas bite my legs before, I lived in a house where the carpet had fleas in it. I don't even like looking at that. I still got scars on my legs. All he did was make enemies of the fearsome Okyasu Josuke duo. I think in the dub, they say like Okyasuke or something like that. He like makes a fun little like fan twin couple name for them. Sick panel. Holy shit. This is where Araki's art just starts to elevate to like another level. In this part, I think he just started to get a really good feel for his own style. Here's Shigechi using Harvest to like conveyor belt himself along, which is fucking hilarious. Like a tank's treads. And then they're like, oh, why don't we just do that with our own stands? And then they never use that again, either. Even though you could totally do that. I guess I can't think of a situation where it would be useful to do that. Squirrels in my pants requiem? What is that? Anyway. So I'll squash your louses one by one, just like bubble wrap. That's very evocative, actually. Sick pose coming up. He takes out the nuts and bolts on these pipes, but then Josuke fixes it together, and they do this gravity-defying pose, but it's so badass that I forgive it fully. This kind of reminds me of, there's a panel in part 8 where a character is shown to have 7 fingers in one panel, and I think it's just a mistake. Like, it might be something that, like, later on it's like, oh, they had 7 fingers the whole time, but it just makes me think of that. I'll mention that when I get to it in part 8. So, Shigechi used alcohol and injected it into their veins, which is super cool. It's like a really creative use of his ability. Okyasu gets his fucking eye, like, gouged out. Ugh. That's more Part 8-esque stuff, with the eye gouging. Josuke's eyelid, let's just zoom right in on that, gets carved out, and reminder that Josuke can't heal himself. And, like, later on we see, like, his eyelid is, like, sliced open, like, he got fucked up. But he's just fine after this. Like, his eye... I think he actually gets a little bandage above his eye, actually. But Jokyasu... Okyasu fools him with money. Whoa. Boo fucking who? I wish he said that in the dub. Holy shit. He probably says, boo frickin' who, idiot? Or whatever. Which, I don't hate the dub, but it's... lacking in some parts. And then there's this great part. I love this, like, checkmate that they get him in. They're like, not only do we have the check now, he's like, I'll just take it back, whatever. But then Josuke's like, no, I'll tear it in half and then scatter the pieces to the wind. And he's like, that's to assure your victory. Because now, Shigechi, because he wants the money so badly, he has to go get the scattered pieces. But now he's defenseless because he doesn't have his stand with them, so they can beat the shit out of him. And since everybody contributed to taking the money back and resolving the issue, they're like, now all of us get a fair slice of the pie. It wasn't just your stand doing the work. And Shigechi kind of learns here. He sort of... he learns his lesson, but, like, kind of. It's like, you know, oh, you know, it's hard to change, but he learned a little bit. I realize now I was blinded by greed. We'll split the money evenly. And then they get 5 million yen. I mean, split amongst the 3 of them, but still a ton! It's like, this is something that, like, when I was watching this episode, I was like, oh, surely, like, when I watched Josuke, like, tearing up the check, I was like, oh, you know, of course. They're not gonna win the lottery this episode. They're not gonna get, like, lottery money. Like, there's no way they would make that, like, permanent change just randomly off of, like, some Villain of the Week type arc. But then they do! They just have money! They're just, like, rich for the rest of the part. And it doesn't, like, super play into it, but it's just hilarious that he just did that. No other series. Like, other series would be like, no, we gotta, like, reset to 0 episodically at the end. But here it's like, nope, Josuke Higashigata's bank account now holds 1/3 of 5 million yen. Quite a lot for someone who's only a high school sophomore. Oh, what the hell. It's good, though. A great arc. I love this whole Harvest thing. Again, Harvest, one of my favorite stands, probably. Not a whole lot else to say about it. I mean, we'll get to see a little more of Shigechi later. But that's gonna do it for today. That's the last volume that I'm covering. At this very moment. Let's look at the memes. Hold on, I got the memes on deck. Let's get at least one more meme in here. Oh, what's a good one? Oh, here we go. Anyway, that was it. That was the end of the Part 4, Part 2 podcast. I could go a little further. I really gotta take a shit, though, and I'm running out of energy. But later, next time, we will cover... let's see, what volumes? So we're on volume 8 right now. We just finished volume 8. Next one's volume 9, Yoshikage Kira Wants a Quiet Life. And it's basically just like, there's like the Superfly fight and like Enigma and shit, but beyond that, I guess there's Jenkin Boy too, and like Atom Heart Father. But after that, it's just like, that's the final fight after that, and then end. And then I will be reading Dead Man's Questions. As well as, I guess the Rohan one-offs, I'll do those all on their own stream. I'll just go through all of those. Because there's some stuff to talk about there, but not a ton. And I could do like the Tonio one, but with part 4, but I'll do it with the other one-shots. But yeah, that's just about it. Oh yeah, there's Mikitaka as well. That's it for today. What a great part. I'm remembering why I like it so much. When I first started going into this, I was like, oh, you know, what if part 4 is not as good as I remember it being? And there are, like, consistency issues everywhere, but I'm willing to overlook it. It's just so fun otherwise, you know? It's such a great piece of media. I know this whole thing seems very masturbatory, you know, like I'm just jerking off JoJo, but I swear a lot of this is because I feel like the parts of JoJo that make it good are the parts that sometimes get the least amount of coverage, you know? Like the amazing like art in the manga and shit like that. Like I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, Zowarudo, you know, or whatever. But it's like there's good shit in here, and since people are talking about it so much these days, I thought I would do this series to sort of give my input on everything in it, because I get asked about it so often. My favorite part, I don't know. I think part 8 right now, because it's the one that's like in progress. These podcasts are uploaded elsewhere. It's the Fruit Salad channel. It's where I post all the VODs. There's a playlist on that channel that'll have all of them hosted in it. And somebody said, is there a schedule for these? Not really. It's just whenever I feel like it, man. I'm punk rock like that. Rock and roll! Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Stay fresh.